Surely she has not just woken up. Okay, I think we're good. Hello friends, and welcome back to another video. A video where I'm sitting down, I have no children attached to me at the moment. That could change at any point, and I am here to answer some questions that you guys left for me over on my Instagram. So if you're new here, welcome. My name is Kirsty. I'm 26. I live in Adelaide with my beautiful little family. I have a toddler Harper, a 6-week-old daughter Marley, my husband Hayden, and our Australian Kelpie dog Ziggy. I asked you guys to ask me some questions on Instagram, and you guys sent in a fair few, so I figured I would answer them today in a video. So I'm gonna get straight into it because, as I said, I have a 6-week-old, which means at any point I could get interrupted. Harper is napping, Marley is napping. We are taking advantage of the time we have. My first question is, how is 2 under 2 so far? And honestly, I feel like my answer to this will change all the time. At 6 weeks, it's hectic. If you'd asked me 2 weeks ago, I would have said it's a breeze, but I knew I was living in a fairyland because Hayden was still home from work, Marley was sleeping all the time. It was just really easy. Marley feeds a lot and doesn't sleep that much in the day currently, or if she does, it's very hard for me to put her down. She wakes up quite easily when I then transfer her. So currently it's fun. It's very fun. It's very chaotic. I would say it's pretty much what I expected. I sort of went in knowing that things were going to be hectic and hard, and that's what they are. Like, it's so much fun. Harper is 20 months, or yeah, like nearly 21 months, which I don't like talking in months very much, but I feel like she's over a year and a half. She'll be 2 in July. Like, it's a weird age to like tell people she is, but she is so much fun. She is mayhem. She's messy. She's chaotic. She is hilarious. She's fun. She has so much character. She talks so much. There's so much about her that I'm so obsessed with, but she also is at a very challenging age where she knows what she wants, she knows what she doesn't want, she has a lot of emotions that she doesn't know how to express yet. So there's a lot of pushing your boundaries. There's also a lot of her just not being able to communicate what she wants and needs, and so it's challenging. Especially, I have 2 days a week where it's just me and the 2 girls, and my current goal is to just be out in the morning and exhaust Harper and get her as tired and as worn out as possible so that she has a good nap and I can have a couple of hours where I can breathe, and hope that Marley sleeps in the same time. Like, at some point when Harper is asleep, hope that Marley is asleep and have my hands free, which is right now. Overall though, it's going well. The night times are a bit overwhelming. I get overwhelmed when we're trying to do nighttime routine, and that's not necessarily like the girl's fault. That's more like me as a human. I get overwhelmed, and so I'm finding that a little bit challenging. Hayden's usually home for that with me as well. There has been a couple nights where he hasn't been, and I've done it alone, and that's been really hectic. So working as a team and just trying to communicate when I need things. I found that it was easier for me to just do things myself with Harper instead of asking for help with things. I could just do it quickly and easily. However, now with the 2 of them, I need more help, and so I'm having to learn to communicate better with him because I don't know, but we're getting there. It's a transition, that's for sure, but one I'm very happy with, and hopefully in the long term these girls will be besties. I know we're gonna have a couple of kind of hard years, and then hopefully it'll get not necessarily easier, there'll be different challenges, but hopefully they can entertain each other. That was a really long-winded answer, I'm so sorry. I then got a, do you want more babies? And the answer to that is most likely no. We are pretty sure we are 2 and done. As much as I love babies and the newborn stage, and I love being a mum, I think 2 is very manageable for us. We are very happy with 2. We feel very complete with 2 at the moment. Never say never, who knows? I don't feel like being pregnant again. As much as I enjoyed my second pregnancy a lot more than my first, I just don't really want to be pregnant again. I'd never enjoyed, pregnancy is really hard, and I felt really guilty when I was pregnant that I didn't have the energy for Harper, and then I was tired all the time. And yeah, I don't know, I just don't really feel like being pregnant again or giving birth again. If you've heard my birth stories, neither of them were overly good, and I have 2 perfect girls. We love them so much. We also don't want a 3rd girl, and there's a high chance of that happening. I really don't want 3 daughters. 2 daughters is going to be enough. And so yeah, not that I have to justify why I only want 2 children, but we are very happy with our 2. I then got, how is Harper adjusting to not being the only child? And honestly, she is quite good in that aspect. Harper has cousins, so she's used to sharing the attention with them, and she goes to childcare, so I feel like quite well-rounded in that aspect, that she's used to sharing attention. We have always spent a lot of time with my friends and their kids when I was on maternity leave, so she's never often just been by herself, if that makes sense. So she's always been around other kids and babies and stuff like that, so she's adjusted really well in that aspect. She is a really good big sister. She loves Marley. She's obsessed with her. She always wants to cuddle her and yeah, give her love. So I feel very lucky that as far as that goes, we've been really, really lucky, and Harper has adjusted really well to being like a big sister. I then go, how is Marley's sleep? Currently at 6 weeks, it is good. It's bound to change because all babies change. She often gives me like a 5 or 6 hour stretch as her first stretch, and then anywhere from 2 to 4 hours after that. So often we go to bed between like 8 and 9, then quite often not up to like between 2 and 4. So I always get sort of like 5 hours generally first, and then maybe a couple of hours at a time after that. And then like the past few nights she's been up just once around 3 or 4ish, and then has been back down again till like 7, and then after 7 she sleeps for another hour or so before waking up again. So yeah, so far so good. I'm definitely getting enough sleep currently. I remember it was the same with Harper for a little while until she hit 4 months, so we will see what happens there. After that, Harper's sleep got really bad, so I'm really hoping it's not the case this time, but we will just run with it. It's not going to be forever, and if I have a few months or years of sleeplessness, then so be it. I had another, how are you finding 2 under 2? I then had a non-parenting related question, and it was, what is your favourite read of the year so far? Let me double check what I've read this year so far. I think I would have to say, it depends on the genre. If I'm going non-fiction, I would have to say Raising Girls Who Like Themselves. I absolutely loved that, devoured it, just loved it as far as like some parenting advice, how I want to raise my daughters, that sort of thing. I really enjoyed. But if I'm going fiction, I would have to say The Brawl by Willa Nash / Devney Perry. It is the 5th book in the Calamity Montana series, and I just absolutely devoured it. I've been really enjoying those books as like palate cleansers and books in between books. They're like 300 pages each, small town romance. They're all sort of interconnected, like everyone knows each other. So each of the books is about a different couple in the town, but they all are like friends with each other. So I'm really, really enjoying that series. I think I only have 1 or 2 of those books left. I think there might be 6 or 7, but I'm really, really enjoying that. And The Brawl was just so good. I don't know what it was about it, but it was just, I loved it. Devoured it. And I also really enjoyed Things We Got Over by Lucy Score, and I'm almost finished Things We Hide From the Light, which I'm also loving. But those 2 would be very high on my list so far this year as well. And then had how are you feeling at this stage in your recovery compared to last time? And honestly, I feel like I have really been lucky with my recoveries from pregnancy. I think my traumatic births have then given me some good luck in recovery, because within a few days I feel honestly amazing. I feel so good. I'm so ready to exercise again. I feel like postpartum for me is a really positive thing, and I feel really strong and empowered, and my like mental health is really, really good. I don't think I realized how low my mental health was before having Marley, especially going so overdue. I think mentally I was actually struggling a lot more than I let myself believe. Like I tried to just stay positive, and I tried really hard to be this strong, grateful person who was loving all stages of everything, and I just don't think that was actually the reality. But now that I am postpartum, I feel like myself again. I feel like I'm in control. I feel like a good mum again. I feel so much better, and physically I just feel so energized. Like I can go for big long walks, and I can't wait to work out again, and I just feel like I'm in a really good place physically and mentally. I then had tips for managing a toddler whilst you're nursing a newborn and somewhat trapped or stuck. Honestly, this has been one of my biggest struggles so far. I have a mix of things for Harper. She really likes reading books, so I often will ask her to go and get a book, which then means like Marley doesn't feed for very long, which is good. She's like 10-15 minutes maybe, whereas Harper used to feed for like 45 minutes to an hour. So that has been really helpful. I quite often will be like, go get a book. So then like that's a couple minutes for her to get the book. She brings the book, we read for a few minutes, I get it, I get another one. We go back and forth. Sometimes that can last a whole feed. I have used the TV. I'm not an overly big TV person myself in life, which means I'm not really that into TV for my kids either. Hayden is a big movie person and loves watching like movies and TV shows, and it's just not what interests me. I would rather read or listen to music or listen to a podcast or listen to an audiobook. I just don't put the TV on often in the day. So Harper has never been exposed to much TV. We put a movie on every now and then, or now we put either The Wiggles or Emma Memma on sometimes, and I have found myself using the TV a little bit more since having Marley to keep Harper occupied whilst feeding. I often feed in the garden so that Harper can run around in the garden. She loves being outside. She's got some toys outside that she loves playing with, so often I'll say, let's go outside, and I know she can play whilst I feed Marley. What else do I do? Sometimes I just let her run ragged and she just is a wild child and creates absolute chaos, and then I've got to pick everything up after. But generally books, the TV if I'm really desperate and if I'm tired, or going outside. And going outside makes everyone happier, so I feel like that works in a few ways. How you went about introducing Harper to her new baby sis, any tips to prevent jealousy? Honestly, she hasn't been jealous, and that's just been something that I think has come down to luck. But as far as introducing them, it didn't really go how I planned, because I wanted to introduce them in the hospital and then all come home together, but because Marley was in the neonates, that wasn't really possible for Harper to come in, obviously. So instead, we just did it when Harper got home from childcare. I went and picked her up from childcare. I hadn't seen her in a couple of days, so that was really nice. I had a big cuddle with her, brought her home. Marley was in the bassinet here, and we literally just walked her in and said, your baby sister's here. And she like said hello to her from the bassinet, and then we took Harper onto the couch and Marley came and we let them have a cuddle together. And that was sort of it. It went really well, and then Harper was absolutely feral that night because she'd been at childcare all day and had a really whack few days with being passed to all of our families and stuff like that. So it was a really stressful evening, but Marley slept the whole time, so it was kind of fun. We just managed Harper between us, and yeah, it was kind of chaotic, but she won't even remember meeting her. She'll just always know her as being in her life. So I feel like the introduction is like not that big of a deal depending on how old your child is. Harper barely, like, she's so young that was like a non-event to her. Whereas obviously if you had like a 5-year-old, I feel like things would be a lot different. Most unexpected part of postpartum round 2. Honestly, nothing other than my milk coming in so quick and so like intensely this second time. I literally got a boob job overnight, it felt like, or within like a few hours. I was like, holy crap. But other than that, I don't think I've had any. Oh, and the after birth pains, which everyone talks about. Like once I gave birth to Marley, I was in so much pain. Like my contractions were like still going and I was still experiencing like a lot of agony, whereas I don't remember that with Harper. Hardest part of adjusting to having a newborn at home with a toddler on the loose. I guess this is similar to like the 2 under 2 things and like how I've adjusted. Things are just a bit hectic but fun, and it's just a big change, and life is always going to be full of change. So I feel like at the moment things are really crazy. Things will probably be crazy in some way or another for the next few years, but we are very, very lucky. I feel like people always say how crazy it is to have 2 under 2, and I completely agree. It is hectic, but I also feel like I can't, not that I can't complain, because I definitely can and it's justified and my struggles can be real, but I also just feel so lucky that we got pregnant so quickly, and I just don't ever want to be ungrateful for what we have, because although it is crazy, we fell pregnant straight away, and that's not the case for so many people that I know, and I just feel so lucky that I almost don't want to complain because I'm just so lucky. And obviously, like, everyone's allowed to complain about the things they are struggling with, because everyone has struggles, and no matter what your struggles are, it's valid. But I also just think I'm just so lucky that the hard days will be hard and then they'll be over. So it's all temporary, and even if these days for a few months are really hectic, on the days that I don't have Hayden home with me and that I have both girls, they'll be gone before I know it, and it'll be gone in a blink of an eye, and then I'll be sad that they're over. So I'm just trying to enjoy and soak in as much of it as I can. I then got, how did you find the induction experience? And I don't know if I technically got induced in the end because I didn't have the gels and I just got my waters broke, so I don't really know if it's, I guess it would technically, like, breaking your waters is a form of induction, but I found it really good. I think we got very lucky that it was a quiet day in the hospital and they had lots of time for us and gave us so much care. I know when I gave birth to Harper, the hospital was so busy that they did not give a shit about us for hours and hours. So I felt very, very lucky in that aspect, that they just had so much time for us, and I was in active labour quite quickly, so I had a midwife with me all the time from pretty early on. So yeah, it was really good. That is all of the questions I have for today. Holy moly. It was a lot of mum, birth, 2 under 2 questions. So if that's not something you're interested in and you managed to listen still, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe if you are not already, because I upload new videos every single week, and I'll see you in my next video, which will be very soon. Bye.